Welcome to a world where family secrets aren't just whispers, they're explosive revelations that can change everything. Here, every story dives deep into the tangled web of hidden betrayals, raw emotions, and shocking truths about love, marriage, and family. Imagine being overlooked, excluded, and left in the shadows, only to uncover the darkest secrets no one wanted you to see. From weddings that explode in unexpected violence to long-buried resentments finally coming to light, these stories take you on a gripping journey of revenge, reckoning, and justice. Witness alliances shift, masks fall, and the fragility of relationships exposed in the most unforgettable ways. This is where every twist of fate spirals into chaos, every betrayal cuts deep, and every secret changes the game. Stay ready for shocking revelations that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about love and family. The wedding was supposed to be a celebration, a perfect day filled with laughter, flowers, and the kind of love that everyone dreams of. But beneath the surface, tension had been simmering for months, threads of resentment weaving quietly between family members. Invitations were handed out selectively, whispers carried through the air like smoke, and the atmosphere was already charged with silent grudges before a single toast had been made. When the ceremony began, the smiles were polished, the hugs carefully measured, yet even as the vows were exchanged, there was an edge that no one could ignore. The groom, who had seemed charming in photos and polite in conversation, revealed a side that no one had ever anticipated. A fleeting glare, a muttered word, a flicker of aggression. It all built quietly until the moment everyone would remember. Footage captured later revealed what happened in real time. A shocking slap across the bride's face, delivered in front of every witness. Gasps rippled through the room, the music cut off mid-note, and smiles vanished like smoke. The elegance of the wedding was shredded in an instant, replaced by raw horror. Friends froze, relatives recoiled, and the hidden tensions that had been lurking beneath polite conversation erupted into chaos. It wasn't just the physical act, it was the revelation of character, the unmasking of a man who hid cruelty behind charm. The aftermath was a flurry of disbelief and whispered accusations. Questions that had never been asked openly before suddenly demanded answers. How could someone so close have been blind to the groom's nature? What secrets had been buried beneath smiles and polite nods? The family's carefully maintained image cracked, revealing fault lines of betrayal, unspoken resentments, and fractured loyalties. Every detail of that day, the stolen glances, the half-smiles, the hurried shuffles, now made sense in a haunting way. The wedding, which had promised joy, became the stage where the truth could no longer be denied. It was a moment that lingered, the kind of shocking revelation that stays with everyone involved, a silent pivot point where old wounds were ripped open and hidden betrayals finally surfaced. And in the quiet aftermath, the truth hung heavier than any bouquet or ribbon ever could. Years of being overlooked and quietly excluded had a way of building a silent storm. Invitations that never arrived, family gatherings where presence was barely acknowledged, and offhand comments that cut deeper than words ever should. All of it festered into a quiet determination. There was a sense that nothing was as it appeared, that beneath polite smiles and carefully curated appearances lay secrets no one wanted uncovered. The whispers started softly at first, passing between relatives like shadows in a hallway, hinting at betrayals no one spoke of aloud. It began with small observations, a hidden text message accidentally left on a kitchen counter, a brief exchange of glances loaded with meaning, a subtle change in tone when certain topics came up. Each fragment felt like a puzzle piece, building a picture that had been intentionally obscured. The realization hit slowly, insidiously. Years of manipulation, exclusion, and unspoken lies had been at play, and it was time to confront what had been kept in the dark. The process of uncovering the truth became almost addictive. Hours spent piecing together casual remarks, reviewing old footage, rereading emails and messages. It all revealed a tangled web of deception. Family members who seemed harmless suddenly revealed hidden motives, alliances that had been carefully concealed came into focus, and a pattern emerged of control, secrecy, and betrayal. Even those thought to be allies could not be trusted entirely. With every revelation, the sense of injustice grew. Raw emotions surfaced in unexpected moments: anger, disbelief, and a kind of fierce clarity that only comes when the veil is finally lifted. Each secret discovered, each hidden truth exposed, intensified the resolve to see the story through to its conclusion. The quiet storm had finally found its voice. The moment froze in time. A single frame on a phone camera revealed everything that polite smiles and wedding decorations had tried to hide. The groom's hand swung sharply, and the bride's startled gasp filled the air before anyone could even react. Gasps rippled through the crowd, whispers erupted like wildfire, and the carefully orchestrated celebration collapsed in an instant. The elegance of the day was gone, replaced by raw, unfiltered chaos. Everyone froze. The photographer's camera clicked furiously, capturing each stunned expression, each frozen gesture of disbelief. Friends and family who had smiled politely for months suddenly looked around, trying to make sense of what had happened, the mask of civility stripped away. It wasn't just a slap, it was a revelation, a visible crack in the facade everyone had worked so hard to maintain. In that single moment, the fragility of relationships became painfully clear. The footage circulated quickly, first in hushed whispers, then on phones, then on social media. Every replay exposed the truth more starkly. Years of hidden tension, subtle manipulations, and unspoken betrayals were suddenly undeniable. Conversations that had once been carefully controlled unraveled, and loyalties fractured under the weight of shock and disbelief. People who had seemed loyal turned hesitant, unsure of how to respond, while others, long suspected of being complicit in silence, were finally revealed. Emotions ran raw. Anger, disbelief, and a deep, piercing sadness mingled in the same room. The bride's humiliation became a mirror reflecting years of family dysfunction, and the groom's violent outburst laid bare the truths no one wanted to acknowledge. It became impossible to ignore the hidden betrayals that had always lingered in the background, the secrets that had been swept under carpets of civility, the fractures that had quietly widened over time. And in the aftermath, the family could no longer pretend everything was fine. The delicate threads holding relationships together snapped under the weight of reality. Conversations that had once been casual were now charged with suspicion, regret, and the undeniable force of revealed truths. The camera had done what words never could. It had exposed the hidden, the ugly, and the shocking. The moment left a mark no apology could erase. The aftermath of that wedding was only the beginning. Each revelation, each exposure of hidden truths set off a chain reaction that no one could have predicted. Conversations that had been carefully managed dissolved into raw confrontations. Secrets that had been buried for years emerged with the weight of inevitability. Family members who had seemed untouchable, pillars of strength and authority, suddenly revealed cracks in their carefully maintained facades. Alliances shifted overnight, old friendships fractured, and new, unexpected loyalties began to form in the most surprising places. It became clear that the family dynamic could never return to what it had once been. Every betrayal uncovered had a ripple effect, forcing people to reconsider whom they could trust and who had been hiding behind smiles and politeness all along. Private grievances spilled into the open, exposing rivalries, resentment, and jealousy that had long simmered beneath the surface. What had seemed like isolated incidents were actually part of a larger pattern, a web of manipulation and deceit stretching across years. Some tried to deny it, to sweep the evidence under the rug, but the truth had a momentum of its own. The shocking footage, the whispered confessions, the subtle admissions that had once gone unnoticed, all converged to make the lies impossible to sustain. Emotions ran high, anger flared, sorrow burned, and disbelief rippled through every interaction. Each confrontation left its mark, shaping behavior and rewriting relationships in ways that could never be undone. At the center of it all, the consequences of every action, every betrayal, every secret kept, every manipulation came into focus. The once unquestioned power of appearances was shattered, replaced by a raw, sometimes brutal understanding of reality. Old rules no longer applied. People who had hidden their true intentions were suddenly revealed, and those who had suffered in silence found their strength, building unexpected alliances that shifted the balance of power. In the end, what began as a single act of cruelty had cascaded into something much larger, a full reckoning that transformed the family, revealing hidden truths, testing loyalties, and leaving scars that would never fade. Some things could never be unseen. If this story left your heart racing and your jaw on the floor, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another shocking revelation. Share your thoughts in the comments. What would you have done if you were in this family's shoes? These stories prove that behind every smile, there's a truth waiting to be exposed. Stay tuned for more tales of betrayal, revenge, and unforgettable family drama. You won't want to miss what happens next.